Good morning. Here we are back in sunny Jersey. I say sunny Jersey, it's mid-December, so it's not so sunny. It's me and my mate Paddy G. Here he is. Say hello, Paddy. Say hello. Oh, he's a bit camera shy this morning. He's only been in Jersey for 3 months, so he hasn't seen the whole island. So I thought today I might show him another of a couple of beaches from the east of the island, which will be nice. And if we find anything, great. If not, we'll just enjoy the scenery and have a nice day out. This beach is obviously a little bit of a stony beach, but it has got a bit of a story to it, because up there is a rock which is called Jeffrey's Leap, and the story behind Jeffrey's Leap is a rather strange one. It goes back to folklore, and a gentleman called Jeffrey was meant to have committed a crime against a female, and it was decided that he deserved the death penalty. So in those times, apparently the death penalty was sometimes carried out by bringing people to that rock and throwing them off. So they brought Jeffrey down here, and a crowd turned up to watch his demise, his execution, and two guards duly threw him off the rock, and incredibly he landed in the sea and survived it. And being a good swimmer, he swam back round and was collected again and taken back to the rock, where there was a discussion about whether he should be put to death, or whether, because he'd survived the fall, that was he deserved a pardon. So this debate was going on when Jeffrey, who I suspect was not the brightest lad, took matters into his own hands and said, no problem, I'll jump off again. So he duly did this, and as you all suspect what is coming next, he was killed in the fall. So poor old Jeffrey didn't survive it, and that rock is called Jeffrey's Leap. Some lovely pebbles on this beach. Lots of nice dark reds and browns. Very pretty. And lots of them. And then they've all been brought up by the tide, and then you've got a lovely sandy bit. So Port is really quite delightful. Brick! But it's obviously well weathered, and it's in a lovely shape and lovely, nice and rounded, so that's a nice find. Paddy's rock climbing. He thinks he's found something interesting, but I've come across another piece of pottery, and guess what? It's the normal white stuff that you always find in Jersey. And hang on, there's another bit, and it's the same. Unbelievable. No pattern, just little bits of white pottery. Is that another bit? Yep. Another bit with some lines on, looks like a bit of a handle. And there's another bit that's got the faintest bit of a pattern on it, but you can't see it. Well, Paddy and I have just come across, look at this, 2 bits of sea glass. And for the first time, I think, this I found a bit that's sort of nicely rounded, and in case anybody's shouting at the screen saying, look to your right, look to your right, a couple of inches to the right is another really nice bit. It's only, unfortunately it's just clear cut, no colour to it, but it's got a little pattern on it, and again it's lovely rounded sea glass. So that's 2 bits within 2 inches. Oh, and I can see another bit. That bit's not so nice. It's not as rounded. I think I'll leave that and see if, come back in a couple of months and see if it's turned into a nice bit. Bit of pottery. Another bit of white greyish, well, it's sort of pale brown pottery. So this seems to be a little hotbed for bits. There's another bit of pottery, that's the white stuff, faint traces of a pattern. So it's all happening in this little corner. And yep, another bit of sea glass. Well, look at this. There's a tiny bit of pottery, but it's got a little blue and white pattern on it. Just a small bit, but it's got a colour on it. Lovely. On a lovely beach, right up the end of it. And this is a perfect little spot for sea glass, really. And I can see another bit over there. Here we go. That bit's not so nice. It's a bit jagged. I'm going to leave that. When I say it's jagged, it's not going to cut anybody. It's another bit. That's lovely. That's really rounded. It's not sharp, so it wouldn't cut anybody. There's another bit. That could do with rounding off a bit. And there's a tiny white slither of something there. It's unusual. Bit of a shell, I think. And underneath it, another tiny piece of white pottery. Okay. We're having fun here. Lots to check out. And look, I just kicked back the stuff, the pebbles, and there's another round bit of white pottery. So, lots of white pottery, lots of sea glass here. Unfortunately, no coloured sea glass. That's what we want next. We want a nice piece of coloured sea glass. Well, look at this. There's a tiny bit of pottery, but it's got a little blue and white pattern on it. Just a small bit, but it's got a colour on it. This is quite interesting. It almost looks like a piece of jet. It's very dark black. Doesn't feel like coal. Hang on. There's another bit there. 2 bits right next to each other. And another bit. I really don't know what they are. It's definitely not coal. Feels like it could be a rock, or it could be, I don't know. There's a bigger bit there. Strange. Quite a lot of it, actually. But I don't know what it is. We got another piece of that rounded brick. Really well worn. So we'll take that. And it's just lots of really pretty pebbles. I like this beach. We'll come back here. Paddy's enjoying it. He's playing in the seaweed. Paddy, what are you doing? Oh, what are you doing, eh? You enjoying this? Come on out the seaweed. Good boy. Hey, no eating anything like you did on our first trip. You had a dodgy belly for a day after that. Sort of caught it on film, him finding something, and before I know it, he'd eaten half of it. Don't know what it was. Didn't do him any good. Before I forget, on my second video, where we were checking out the German bunkers, I actually said that Jersey was the only part of the UK that was occupied by the Germans in World War II. I have to apologise to my mates in all the other Channel Islands. Of course, it was the Channel Islands that were occupied by the Germans, not just Jersey. So please accept my apologies for that inaccuracy. We've just come over the other side of the slip, and some strange things going on here. Look, we've got a rock that seems to have been painted green. Then you walk up this way a little bit, and there's one that's been painted green and pink. Then we go over here, more artwork, green and pink. I don't know if that's it. Looks like somebody's been doing a little bit of artwork on the pebbles on this side. A little bit of sea glass, and it's green, and it's nicely rounded. Paddy's still loving life, and another tiny piece of rounded brick. Oh, that's interesting. What's that? Yep, the white pottery. So, I think we're heading back to the car. It's been nice down here. Freezing cold though.